The alien ship Starweaver floated in the dark space like a broken bird. Its silver body was covered with burn marks and holes. Captain Vextal looked at the damage through the main window and felt his heart sink. 3 hours ago, his ship had been exploring asteroids near the edge of known space. Now they were dying. The attack had come without warning. Zorithian raiders, 5 ships full of angry warriors who hated peace and loved to steal and kill. The Kethrans were not fighters. They were scientists and explorers who spent their days studying stars and planets. Their ship had weapons, but they were weak compared to what the raiders carried. Vextal touched the blue crystal patch on his forehead. It glowed dimly, showing his worry. All Kethrans had these crystal patches that changed color with their feelings. Right now, his was the dark blue of fear and sadness. "Captain," called Navigator Quinara from her station. Her voice was tired and scared. "The engine is completely dead. Life support is failing fast. We have maybe 6 hours of air left." Vextal walked over to her console. Quinara was young for a Kethran, only 90 years old. Her crystal patches were bright yellow with stress. She had been trying to fix their communication system for the past hour. "Any luck with the distress signal?" he asked. "I got it working," she said, "but it's very weak. It can only reach about 2 light years. There are no coalition ships in this area. The nearest base is 8 light years away." Chief Engineer Torvan looked up from where he was working on a broken power cell. He was the oldest crew member at 300 years. His crystal patches were steady green, which meant he was thinking hard. "Captain, we need to put the crew in sleep pods," Torvan said. "If we keep everyone awake, we will run out of air in 6 hours. If we put 10 people to sleep, the 3 of us can last maybe 3 days." Vextal nodded slowly. It was a hard choice, but it was the only way. "Wake everyone up. We need to explain what happened." The crew gathered in the main room. 12 Kethrans stood together, their crystal patches showing different colors of fear, anger, and sadness. They were far from home, and their families would never know what happened to them. "Friends," Vextal began, "our ship is badly damaged. We cannot fly, and we are running out of air. Engineer Torvan says we can save power and air if most of you go into sleep pods. Navigator Quinara and I will stay awake to watch the ship and keep trying to call for help." Science Officer Meltar, a female with bright purple crystal patches, raised her hand. "What are our chances, Captain?" Vextal was quiet for a moment. He did not want to lie to his crew. "Not good. The distress signal is weak. This area of space is far from any coalition patrol routes. Most ships that come here are raiders or pirates. So we might be rescued by more enemies?" asked Junior Engineer Belkun. "It's possible," Vextal admitted. "But we have to try. The sleep pods will keep you alive for weeks if needed. We will wake you up if help comes." One by one, the crew members went to the sleep pods. These were white boxes that could keep a person alive with very little power. The crew said goodbye to each other, not knowing if they would ever wake up again. Soon only 3 Kethrans were awake on the ship. The Starweaver became very quiet. Only the soft hum of the life support system and the beeping of computers could be heard. Quinara worked on making the distress signal stronger. She tried different frequencies and power levels. Sometimes she could boost the signal for a few minutes, but then it would get weak again. "I'm sending the message in all the coalition languages," she told Vextal. "Basic Kethran, Galactic Standard, even old Earth languages like English and Chinese." "Earth languages?" Torvan looked surprised. "Why would you use those? Humans are not part of the coalition." "No, but they have ships out here sometimes," Quinara explained. "They are new to space travel, but they are spreading fast. Some coalition members don't like them because they are too aggressive. But if a human ship finds us, maybe they will help." Vextal nodded. He had heard stories about humans. They had only been traveling in space for about 50 years, but they had already built a strong military. Some aliens were afraid of them because humans seemed to love fighting. But other stories said humans also helped others in trouble. Send the message in their language too, he decided. Any ship is better than no ship. Hours passed slowly. The 3 Kethrans took turns sleeping and watching the systems. The ship got colder as power levels dropped. The lights dimmed to save energy. Outside the windows, space looked empty and hostile. Torvin checked the sleep pods every hour. All 10 crew members were stable, but he knew the pods could not work forever. If no help came in the next few days, they would have to wake everyone up and face the end together. On the second day, something went wrong with the water recycling system. Torvin spent 4 hours fixing it with spare parts. They were running out of everything: power, air, water, food, and hope. "Captain," Quinara called out during her watch shift. "I'm picking up something on long-range sensors. It's very faint, but there might be ships about 12 hours away." Vextal hurried to her station. "Can you tell what kind of ships?" "No, the sensors are too damaged. But the energy signatures are moving toward us. They might have heard our distress call." The 3 Kethrans looked at each other. This could be their rescue, or it could be more raiders coming to finish what the first group started. All they could do was wait and hope that whoever was coming would choose to help instead of harm them. The distress signal continued to broadcast into the darkness of space, carrying their desperate plea for help to whoever might be listening. Zekthorax found the human ship near a small blue planet in the Kepler system. The Horizon was doing what humans called exploring, looking at new worlds and taking pictures. The hunter's ship was invisible to human eyes, so he could watch them work without being seen. What he saw surprised him. The humans moved like they had one mind. When one person found something interesting, they all knew about it in seconds. When danger came close, they all reacted at the same time. It was like watching a school of fish, but these fish were smart. While Zekthorax watched, something went wrong on the planet below. A storm of fire from the sun was coming toward the humans on the surface. Most species would panic and run away, leaving the weak behind. But these humans did something different. Captain Morrison started giving orders. Engineer Sam Turner fired up the ship's engines. Navigator Amy Brooks plotted a rescue path through the dangerous firestorm. Dr. Paul Gibson got ready to treat injured people. Security Chief Lisa Martinez prepared weapons in case they met trouble. In less than 10 minutes, they had saved their people and brought them back to the ship. Nobody was left behind. Nobody panicked. They worked together like they had practiced this 1,000 times. Zekthorax had never seen anything like it. This made the hunter even more interested. These humans were not just lucky. They were organized. They planned ahead. They took care of each other. This would make the hunt more fun, but it would not save them. Nothing could save them from Zekthorax. The hunter waited until the humans went to sleep. Then he attacked their ship with special weapons that turned off their power. Red lights came on all over the horizon. Alarms started ringing. The humans woke up to find their ship broken and powerless in space. Zekthorax used his teleporter to appear inside the human ship. He was ready to start killing. His plan was simple: kill them one by one. Let the others hear the screams. Watch them get scared and make mistakes. Then hunt them down like animals. His first target was Amy Brooks, the navigator. She should be alone in the navigation room, scared and helpless. Zekthorax appeared in the room, ready to make his first kill. But Amy was not there. The room was empty except for a small blinking light on the control panel. Then Amy's voice came from speakers all around the ship. "Attention, unknown hostile creature. This is Lieutenant Amy Brooks. We know you are on our ship. We have started emergency procedures. If you surrender now, we can talk about this like civilized beings." Zekthorax could not believe what he was hearing. No creature had ever detected him this fast. No prey had ever tried to negotiate. No species had ever been ready for him before he even started hunting. This was impossible. But it got worse. When Zekthorax tried to track Amy using his sensors, he could not find her. The ship's system said she was in the navigation room, but she was clearly somewhere else. Either his equipment was broken, or these humans knew how to fool his technology. The hunter decided to stop hiding and start killing. He was much bigger and stronger than any human. He would tear through the ship like paper and collect his trophies. He started moving through the narrow hallways, his huge body barely fitting through the doors made for smaller humans. But something was wrong. The humans were not running away screaming. They were not hiding in corners waiting to die. Instead, they seemed to be everywhere at once. Voices came from the walls, giving orders and sharing information. Footsteps echoed from empty hallways. Doors opened and closed with no one there. Zek-Thorax went to the engine room to find Sam Turner. When he got there, Turner was working calmly on the ship's power systems. He looked up at the huge killer and nodded like they were old friends. "You must be our uninvited guest," Turner said. "Nice scales, but I'm afraid you picked the wrong ship to hunt on." He pressed a button and electricity shot through the walls. Zek-Thorax's equipment sparked and went dead. His advanced weapons stopped working. His sensors went blind. Turner disappeared through a hole in the floor before Zek-Thorax could grab him. The human's voice came from somewhere in the walls. "Hope you don't mind the power problems. I'm going to keep doing that every few minutes just to keep things interesting." The hunter roared in anger and smashed the engine room controls. But the damage was already done. His technology was failing. His advantage was disappearing. And these humans were making him look like a fool. He went looking for Dr. Gibson next. Doctors were always easy kills, soft, weak, and scared of violence. Zek-Thorax found Gibson in the medical room, treating a human who had been hurt in the power failure. The doctor looked up at the monster and kept working. "I'll be with you in a minute," Gibson said. "This man has a broken arm and I need to fix it first." Zek-Thorax was so shocked that he just stood there. No prey had ever ignored him before. No creature had ever put someone else's safety before their own life. This human was either very brave or very stupid. When Gibson finished helping the injured man, he stood up and faced the hunter. "Now then, what can I do for you? Are you hurt? You look a bit stressed." The hunter attacked, but Gibson was ready. He used a medical laser to blind Zek-Thorax and escaped through an air vent before the monster could recover. The doctor's voice echoed from somewhere above. "You should really see someone about that temper problem." For the first time in 300 years, Zek-Thorax was confused. These humans were not acting like prey, they were acting like hunters. Zek-Thorax was getting angry, very angry. In 300 years of hunting, nothing like this had ever happened to him. These tiny humans were making him look stupid. They were supposed to be running and screaming. Instead, they were fighting, back like they knew exactly what they were doing. The hunter decided to find Captain Morrison and kill him first. Cut off the head and the body would die. This was how it worked with every other species. Without their leader, the humans would panic and become easy prey. But finding Morrison was harder than Zek-Thorax expected. The captain seemed to be everywhere, at once. One minute his voice came from the bridge, giving orders to his crew. The next minute he was in the cargo bay, setting traps. Then he appeared in the hallways, shooting at Zek-Thorax with primitive human weapons. The bullets could not hurt the hunter's thick scales, but they were annoying. More annoying was how Morrison always seemed to know where Zek-Thorax was going next. Every time the hunter thought he had cornered the human, Morrison would disappear through a door or a vent that Zek-Thorax had not seen. "You know," Morrison's voice came from the ship's speakers. "Most visitors knock first. It's considered polite." Zek-Thorax roared and smashed a wall with his fist. "Stop hiding and face me, little human. I will make your death quick if you surrender now." "Thanks for the offer," Morrison replied, "but I think I'll pass. My crew and I have other plans." Other plans. Zek-Thorax was learning to hate those words. Every time he thought he understood what the humans were doing, they surprised him with something new. Right now, they were all over the ship, working on projects he could not figure out. Security Chief Lisa Martinez had armed the civilian crew members with tools from the workshop. They were not soldiers, but they moved like fighters now. They appeared in groups, attacked Zek-Thorax from different directions, then disappeared before he could catch them. They used welding torches as weapons and metal pipes as clubs. Engineer Sam Turner was still playing with the power systems. Every few minutes the lights would go out and Zek-Thorax would be blind in the darkness. In those moments, the humans would attack. They could see in the dark somehow, or they had learned to fight without seeing. Either way, it was not fair. Communications Officer Tony Walsh was the most annoying of all. He kept talking to Thorax through the speakers, asking questions and making jokes. "Hey there, big guy. You seem lost. Do you need directions? I have a map that shows the way to the nearest exit." The hunter tried to track Walsh by following his voice, but the human had somehow made it sound like he was coming from every speaker at once. Thorax could not tell where Walsh really was. For all he knew, the human was not even on the ship anymore. Then there was Dr. Gibson. The doctor had become the most dangerous human of all, not because he could fight, but because he would not stop helping people. Every time Thorax hurt a human, Gibson would appear to fix them. The doctor carried no weapons, but he had something worse. He had medical knowledge. Gibson knew exactly where to hit Thorax to cause the most pain. He knew which nerve points would make the hunter's arm go numb. He knew how to use simple medical tools as weapons, and he knew how to disappear faster than any creature Thorax had ever hunted. "You have very interesting anatomy," Gibson said after temporarily paralyzing Thorax's left leg with some kind of injection. "I've never seen anything quite like it. Mind if I study you a bit more?" The hunter was learning that humans had a strange sense of humor. They made jokes even when they were in deadly danger. They laughed at things that should have terrified them. They treated this life-or-death situation like it was some kind of game. But it was not a game to Thorax. His reputation was being destroyed. Word would spread across the galaxy that the great hunter had been beaten by a handful of weak mammals. Other creatures would laugh at him. His legend would become a joke. The worst part was how the humans worked together. When one of them got in trouble, the others would risk their lives to help. When one of them had an idea, they would all help, make it work. When one of them learned something about Thorax, they would tell everyone else immediately. The hunter had fought creatures that were stronger than these humans. He had killed beings that were faster and smarter. But he had never faced anything like this teamwork before. It was like fighting one creature with 23 bodies and 23 brains all working at the same time. Thorax tried a new approach. He would destroy the ship itself. If he could not hunt the humans, he would kill them all at once by breaking their life support systems. But when he went to the environmental controls, he found Amy Brooks waiting for him. "Looking for something?" she asked. She was standing next to a big red button that would blow the ship apart. "If you take one more step, I'll push this button and we all die together. Your choice." The hunter stopped. He could not believe what he was seeing. This tiny human female was willing to kill herself and everyone else on the ship just to stop him. She was not bluffing. He could see it in her eyes. She would really do it. "You're insane," Thorax said. "Maybe," Amy replied. "But we're also very stubborn. We don't like bullies and we don't give up. Ever." For the first time in his long life, Thorax felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Not fear of death. He had faced that many times. Fear of failure. Fear of being beaten by creatures he had thought were beneath him. The great hunter was starting to realize that he had made a terrible mistake. These humans were not prey. They were something else entirely. Something he did not understand. Something that might be more dangerous than anything he had ever faced before. And somewhere in the darkness of space, help was coming for the humans. They had sent a message before Thorax attacked. Soon more humans would arrive. Soon the hunter would learn what it meant to be hunted. The rescue ship arrived faster than Thorax thought possible. It was called the Defender, and it was much bigger than the Horizon. Captain Beth Parker commanded this new ship, and she brought 40 human soldiers with her. But more importantly, she brought something that terrified Thorax more than any weapon. She brought knowledge. "Attention, alien vessel," Captain Parker's voice came through space radio. "This is Captain Parker of the Human Defense Force. We know who you are, Thorax. We know what you do. We know how you hunt. And we are here to stop you." The hunter could not believe what he was hearing. How did these humans know his name? How did they know about his hunting methods? He had been careful to leave no witnesses alive. But somehow, these creatures had been studying him. "We have been tracking you for months," Parker continued. We know about your ship, we know about your weapons, we know about your trophies. The galaxy's deadliest hunter is about to learn what it feels like to be prey. Sergeant Mike Johnson led the human soldiers onto the horizon through docking tubes. These warriors were different from the civilians Zekthorax had been fighting. They moved like professionals. They carried weapons designed to hurt creatures much bigger than humans, and they worked together like they had trained for this exact situation. Spread out, Johnson ordered his troops. Remember, this thing has been killing for 300 years. It knows every trick in the book, but so do we. The soldiers moved through the ship in small groups, each group covering the others. They used scanners that could see through walls. They carried nets made of metal that could hold even Zekthorax. They had studied every species the hunter had ever killed, and they knew how he had done it. For the first time in his life, Zekthorax was the one being hunted. The humans surrounded him in the ship's main corridor. They did not attack right away. Instead, they just watched him like scientists studying a dangerous animal in a cage. "You are smaller than I expected," Sergeant Johnson said. "The reports made you sound like a monster, but you're just a big lizard with anger problems." Zekthorax roared and charged at the humans, but they were ready for him. They used electric nets to slow him down. They fired stun weapons that made his muscles stop working. They threw smoke bombs that filled the air with clouds he could not see through. Every move the hunter made, the humans had an answer for. Every trick he tried, they had already prepared for. It was like fighting an enemy that could read his mind and see the future. "How?" Zekthorax gasped as the nets pulled tight around him. "How do you know so much about me?" Captain Morrison stepped out of the smoke, smiling. "We've been watching you hunt other species for a long time. We studied your methods. We learned your patterns. We figured out your weaknesses. Then we practiced fighting you until we got it right." "Impossible," the hunter said. "No species has ever worked together like this. No creatures have ever shared information across such distances." "That's where you're wrong," said Dr. Gibson, checking Zekthorax for injuries. "Humans talk to each other. We share what we learn. When one human discovers something, we tell all the other humans. We learn from each other's mistakes." Amy Brooks brought out a small computer device. On the screen was a complete map of Zekthorax's hunting grounds, his travel routes, and his favorite hiding places. "We've been tracking you through 37 star systems. Every time you killed someone, we learned a little more about you." The hunter's pride was completely broken. You set a trap for me." "The biggest trap in galactic history," Captain Parker said as she walked onto the ship. "We used the horizon as bait. We let you think you were hunting us, but really we were hunting you." Zekthorax looked around at all the humans watching him. There were so many of them now, and they all looked at him like he was just another problem to be solved. Not a legendary monster. Not a terror of the galaxy. Just a big, mean animal that needed to be stopped. "What happens now?" he asked. "Do you kill me? Do you lock me in a cage? Do you study me like one of your science experiments?" Sergeant Johnson knelt down next to the trapped hunter. "We're going to give you a choice, something no other species ever gave your victims. You can choose to live." "In exchange for what?" "You leave human space and never come back," Captain Parker said. "You stop hunting intelligent creatures. You find a quiet planet somewhere and retire. You spread the word that humans are not to be hunted by anyone ever." "And if I refuse?" Morrison smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "Then we hunt you. Every human ship in space will be looking for you. Every human colony will know your name and your description. Every human who sees you will call for help. We will chase you from star to star until we catch you. You cannot be everywhere at once," Zekthorax said. "Can't we?" Amy Brooks showed him another screen on her computer. It displayed thousands of human ships scattered across the galaxy. "We have trading vessels, exploration ships, military patrols, and civilian transports everywhere. We talk to each other constantly. If you show up anywhere humans can see you, we will know about it in minutes." The hunter realized with growing horror that they were not making empty threats. These humans really had built a network that covered half the galaxy. They really could track him wherever he went. They really could make his life a living nightmare if he refused their offer. Why? He asked. Why let me live? Why not just kill me and be done with it? Dr. Gibson answered. Because killing you would make us like you. We don't want to be killers, we want to be protectors. If you stop hunting, then everyone is safer. That's what we really want. For 300 years, Zek-thorax had been the most feared creature in space. Now he was being offered mercy by the species he had planned to wipe out. It was the most humiliating moment of his long life, but it was also his only chance to survive. I accept, he said quietly. The humans released him from their nets and escorted him back to his ship. As he prepared to leave, Captain Morrison had one last thing to say. Remember this day, Zek-thorax. Remember what it felt like to be helpless. Remember what it felt like to be afraid. And remember that humans gave you something you never gave anyone else, a second chance. The hunter's ship disappeared into the darkness of space. Within hours, his message was being broadcast across the criminal networks of the galaxy. Stay away from humans, it said. They are not prey. They are not weak. They are something new, something dangerous, something that hunts the hunters. And in the years that followed, human space became known as the safest place in the galaxy, not because humans were the strongest or the smartest, but because they were the only species that had turned the galaxy's greatest predator into a messenger of peace.